So I'm going to start with Gianna Benata, who is the winner of our Honorary Alumni Award. And we like to give this award because not everyone who we love was an alum of our college. And so we have the honorary alum for that purpose. But as you'll hear, because I'm going to tell you a little bit about Jen, as you'll hear, she's a kind of alum. So just listen carefully. So Gianna is a proud alumna of MSU. Arriving at MSU as a first-generation college student, her experiences at MSU had a profound impact on her life, and she is grateful for the opportunities and education she was provided. Following graduation, Gianna joined the MSU Alumni Foundation, where she advanced to the role of Director of Development. In this role, she developed donor relationships and inspired major gifts from individuals and corporations. In her 8 years with the MSU Alumni Foundation, she personally secured $19 million plus. Awesome. Yeah. In private donations for the benefit of MSU's programs and students. And these are Gianna's words. Okay. One of her most gratifying assignments was to serve as liaison to the College of Education, Health and Human Development. Gianna is now Associate Director at Profitable Ideas Exchange, and in her role, she convenes and facilitates peer-to-peer roundtable discussions, bringing together C-level executives. She works on behalf of a variety of clients, including Amazon Web Services, Accenture, and Public Estate. She currently volunteers to support the young women of her sorority, Alpha Omicron Pi, sits on the board of the Association of Fundraising Professionals, Montana chapter, and is a founding member of Women Leading Montana. She is the proud daughter of 2 U.S. Marines and is grateful for their service to our community and the values they instilled in her honor, courage, and commitment. In her free time, you can find Gianna enjoying skiing, floating a river, traveling with friends, spending time with her parents, and cheering on the MSU Bobcat athletic teams. Woo. Also Gianna's words. Let the record state you will not find a hint of maroon in her closet. Very good, Gianna. Gianna holds a bachelor's degree in applied psychology and, okay, here's where you gotta listen carefully, a leadership fellow certificate from Montana State University. Now I realize leadership fellows was not part of EHHD when you earned that certificate, but it is now. Oh. I'm official. You're official. Gianna was an absolute joy to work with for 6 years as our liaison to the MSU Alumni Foundation. I wish her the absolute best in the continuation of her career, but her dedication to raising funds and helping us stay connected with alums will not go unacknowledged in EHHD. Gianna did her work with a high level of patience and care and professionalism. She demonstrated how you should treat people who are special to your institution. I'm especially appreciative that when we launched a new degree program, the hospitality management degree, she very creatively developed an industry partners program. We have a very strong industry board and a growing partners program now, and so I want to thank you, Gianna, for planting all those seeds. I believe our partners are responsible for contributing a sizable amount of funds to support that program and specifically student scholarships and equipment. Gianna, congratulations on being named our EHHD Homecoming Honorary Alum for 2021. Quick picture, quick photo. Why don't you stand right here, and Kristen's going to bring more things. All right. 1, 2, 3. We have to take one. Just slip your mask up just really quick. Well, we won't breathe. Okay, I get to present the next one too. And this is for Deb Redmer, who is our homecoming EHHD Distinguished Staff Award winner. So let me tell you a little bit about Deb. Sorry, I have to do this. Not what it used to be. Yeah, I probably could see it better if you did that. From the time Deb Redmer grew up in Concordia, Kansas, she knew she wanted to be an educator. After graduating from Emporia State University with a Bachelor of Science in Elementary Education, she taught elementary and middle school for 20 years in Garden City, Wichita, and Derby, Kansas, before moving to Bozeman in 2011 with her family when her husband, Mike, became the superintendent of Bozeman Public Schools. Deb began her 17-year affiliation with Montana State University when she was first hired as program coordinator for the NCAA certification of the athletic department in 2001 and 2. Through working with professors, staff, and students from across campus, she coordinated the self-study and knew she wanted to continue working at MSU if other career options opened. So from 2003 to 7, she worked for the MSU Alumni Foundation as a development director, where she became acquainted with so many wonderful alumni, some of whom she is still in touch with today. She helped raise funds for many student scholarships and was especially proud of raising funds to help renovate the Herrick Hall Lounge and kitchens in the mid-2000s. In 2007, she was hired to be the first communication specialist, scholarship coordinator, and special events planner in the College of EHHD. In this position, she came to realize how special EHHD's faculty, staff, and students are, and loved writing articles about them for publications. Also active in the community and state, she has served on the Montana School of the Deaf and Blind Foundation for 12 years, Bozeman Public Library Foundation for 7 years, and our own advisory council for the College of EHHD for the past 2 years. She's a member of PEO, a women's philanthropical education organization, and is active in her church as co-president of the United Methodist Women. Deb and her husband Mike retired from MSU in May 2018, and now are enjoying spending some time outdoors with family and traveling. Now, Deb had already been a long-term employee in the dean's office by the time I entered the dean's office in 2015. And so having observed how rapidly staffing can turn over in the dean's office, you can imagine how valuable a person who had been there 8 years would be to you, because I haven't even been there 8 years and it seems like a lot longer. It's a very long time, and seeing her form personal relationships with alums and donors, I was very envious of her command of their names and all of their details. But 8 years, that gives you a little time to do that. She could give me a little bit of information about almost anything in the college. For me, she modeled how to dress professionally. Still a work in progress. We'll get there. Our weekly meetings were part informational and planning about communications, scholarships, and events, and they were part counseling for me. And that's because Deb was really a solid rock in the dean's office, a great listener, someone I could laugh with. She's always been admirably loyal to the college and absolutely devoted to the success of our students, and we owe a debt of gratitude for the retention and graduation of many students who needed a bit of help along the way. She was able to identify them and advocate for them. Deb, congratulations on your homecoming award. Okay, now I get to find out who's next. So Ann Eubank will present the next award for us. Thank you, Ann.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's so great to see so many people in these best colors that we have in the rainbow. So, and I know that we're gonna, Cal Poly's at sea level and we're at 5,000 feet, so I think we'll be okay tomorrow. So I'm Ann Eubank. I have the pleasure of serving as the department head. This is my second year. It's not really the beginning of the second year anymore, but so I'm just going to say a few words about Mickey that aren't in the bio that you see in front of you in the program, because Mickey was one of the first people that I met in the department when I came here in 2014 as an assistant professor. And I remember, Mickey, you had my computer set up for me. You had candy for me. I felt so welcome in a place where I'd never been, that I had no friends, no family ties, and I immediately felt welcomed into the department. So that's the first story about Mickey. The second story is something that we learned about each other recently. And this goes to show you that there's always something new to learn about your fabulous colleagues. And that is that I'm obsessed with the Brooks Falls Bear Cam in the summer. Does anybody know about this bear cam? Okay, yeah. The department does, because I'm like putting it on in newsletters, and I think I put it on in the retreat while we were eating. But this bear cam is it's in Katmai National Park, and it is just a beautiful 24/7 opportunity to observe bears fishing for salmon and getting really, really fat over the summer. And so when I put on the bear cam at our retreat on August 18th, I learned that Mickey, too, is obsessed with these bears. And we are also, our favorite bear is the same, so we're both on Team Otis. So that gives you something to look on the internet about. And Mickey, it's been an awesome 7 years working with you. And I'm just so grateful for you every day. Come on up, Mickey.
So now we're going to hear from Anna Ellsworth, who's going to present her next award.
Good afternoon, everybody. Can you hear me? Should I try that again? Good afternoon, everybody. Well, it is my distinct honor to introduce you to a remarkable individual, a teacher of teachers, a woman extraordinaire, Mrs. Kelly Boswell. Would you come up, Kelly? So I came as a newly minted teacher of teachers in 1990, and 3 years later, I met this remarkable undergraduate student, Kelly Boswell, who distinguished herself by her striving for excellence and her intellectual curiosity and her drive and her incredible commitment at a young age to our profession. So over the years, Kelly and I have kept in touch. She came back for her master's degree in 2001, and then she took flight. So this lady who stands before you is an author and co-author of several books. She is a nationally recognized teacher consultant, literacy consultant. That is both of our loves. And therefore she impacts teachers and by extension thousands of students because she teaches them the joy and the love of writing and literacy and language and that whole ball of wax. Because we know that when students are introduced to it early on, you never lose that love, right? If you have that, once you're hooked forever. So her texts and her publications are very accessible, and teachers appreciate them because they are written by someone who has walked the talk, someone who is authentic, someone who knows about being in the classroom and the myriad responsibilities that teachers face. To know Kelly is to know an ethical, talented, gracious, and generous human being. And my heart is full as I now move forward and ask us all to honor this incredible teacher of teachers, this woman this strong advocate of public schools and of pre-K-12 students. There's only one Kelly Boswell, and here she is.
Allison, take it.
Can I just share that Kelly is teaching for the Department of Education now? She's also supervising students out in the field. So Kelly, welcome home. Thank you for being with us.
I want to invite Robert Carson up to do our last award. And this award winner, Elizabeth Swanson, is not with us today. She is traveling, but we really still felt strongly we wanted to honor her regardless.
Thank you. Just my luck having to follow an eloquent English major. I'm really happy to be able to do this. Elizabeth Swanson was the first person in this university who I ever had contact with. And so I'm going to tell you the story. Actually, the first time that I had contact with her was June 16, 1991. I had finished my PhD at the University of Illinois under very challenging circumstances, personal issues. It had been very difficult years, and I had applied for a few jobs. The job market was poor that summer. So there wasn't much out there, and I didn't hear back. So we decided, well, we might as well go camping. And so we bought a cheap, old, used pop-up camper, and we decided we were going to spend the time traveling out west with our then 2-year-old daughter, Rebecca. We intended to spend a few months camping and seeing some friends and family along the way. A few weeks into our adventure, we ended up in the Gila wilderness area of New Mexico. And on our way down into this absolutely remote but very beautiful area, I happened to notice a telephone booth by the side of the road. And there's probably some of you that are so young you don't know what a telephone booth is. But the next few days later was going to be Sunday, and that was going to be Father's Day. And I had always honored my father, and I wasn't going to miss it that time if at all possible. So when I saw the phone booth, I was like, oh, this is great. Thanks, Lord. Let's see. So that Sunday morning, I left the campsite. I drove back up to that phone booth to call my dad and wish him a happy Father's Day. And I will never forget what he said. He said, well, Robert, it's a good thing that you are such a dutiful son. Montana State University has been trying to get a hold of you for a job interview. So he gave me the contact information of the person who was chairing the committee, the search committee, and that was Elizabeth, right? And Ann was actually on that committee, and so was Priscilla. But it was Elizabeth that I ended up talking to. And she was so gracious, but of course, she had worked really hard to track me down. Amazing. After I said goodbye to Elizabeth on the phone, I called my dad back and said, Dad, I'm going to be going up to Montana for a job interview. Could you do me a favor and go to our apartment and, get my sport coat and tie and, all the rest of that stuff? Well, yep, son, I'd be happy to do that. So I had him send that to my brother in Boulder, Colorado. And we had about 2 weeks to do this. And so we continued camping out a little bit, New Mexico, a little bit in Arizona. Then we headed up to Colorado, and there was the package from my dad, and that was great. And then when it was almost time, we drove up here and we found a campsite at Greek Creek on the Gallatin River, which was beautiful. The day of the interview, Elizabeth was very apologetic. The only time, this was summertime, the only time she could get all the faculty together for my presentation was first thing in the morning. No pressure there, right? But it was okay. She picked me up at the Holiday Inn, which is where they had put me up for my family up for the night. And so there I am in my coat and tie, and Elizabeth very graciously recounts the story of our first contact scene. And I finally tracked him down in New Mexico, where he was camping out with his family. I think he's one of us. And without missing a beat, I said, yes, unfortunately, when we camp out, we always dress for dinner, or I would have had nothing to wear for this event. And that's sort of how it went out. My presentation went great, and all the meetings I had with people were fun. It really felt like home. And there you go. Elizabeth was helpful throughout the whole process and very gracious enough to allow us to park our pop-up camper on her property while we hightailed it back home to pack up and arrange for the move. So, that's a story about me, but I'll tell you about Elizabeth. When I wrote this up, I have 5 words that characterize Elizabeth. And I ran these by Mickey, and she said, oh yeah. So they are tenacity, and I just covered that one. Wisdom, intelligence, professionalism, and creativity. And that's a pretty tall order for anybody. I credit Elizabeth with having been persistent, and for her tenacity in tracking me down. It changed my life. It meant that I ended up with my dream job in a place that I truly love, and in the company of friends and colleagues and students that mean the world to me. I would witness that tenacity many times in Elizabeth over the years. She gets things done, and many people have been the beneficiary of her capable and persistent manner. Elizabeth is a science educator. She taught methods courses at the undergraduate level, as well as numerous graduate courses, including a research course that my wife Annette took, and said, oh yeah, she was great. She was such a wonderful teacher. So there's another endorsement. She is probably best known for her leadership throughout our state and across the region. In the course of her career, she contributed as PI or co-PI to over $60 million in grants and contracts.
Wow.
Yeah. And she ran all of those programs with impeccable skill and competence. A lot of those were run during the 8 years when I was department head. And frankly, I never had to give a single thought to whether the money or the program or the personnel were being managed well or not. They were. And Mickey was part of that operation, by the way. And yeah, it was amazing. Elizabeth was instrumental in getting the grant and in designing the Master of Science in Science Education program. MSSE was one of the first programs in our campus, and probably in the country, to use distance learning technology and deliver coursework to students out in the field. She was a leader in the development of high-quality distance education on our campus and had a very clear vision as to where it would go before most people had even heard of it. Elizabeth collaborated with others. She was instrumental in sustaining the brown bag science group on campus. Now, they met informally every Wednesday over the lunch hour, and they would talk about what's NSF up to, what are the opportunities, what are the needs in our state, and they would network with each other. And she invited me into that group because I had an interest in science education and math education, and so that became part of my network also. She was a leader on the campus and interdisciplinary initiatives alongside her colleagues in the various science departments, and that's notoriously hard to do. We tend to be siloed, but she was a catalyst for this cross-campus consortia of people that worked together for decades. She helped to develop important collaborations on grants and contracts and new programs, SMERC, the Science Math Resource Center, CLTW, the Center for Learning and Teaching in the West, STEP, N10, the acronyms roll trippingly off the tongue. It was fascinating to watch Elizabeth work. She was never a grandstander. She was never looking for fame and glory. She never got rich off of the things that she did, but she got stuff done. She worked hard and effectively with a wide range of people, always in a manner that was professional and considerate of their time and their interests in a project. She was creative and a good problem solver. She understood how universities work, how grant funding agencies work, and how public schools work. So her programmatic innovations were pragmatic and they were effective. She would travel to NSF for an appointment with the program leaders to find out exactly what they were looking for in the next round of grants. So she knew the people at NSF, and she took the time to get herself enrolled early in a review team. I think she did this a couple of times, where the grants that other people submitted were being reviewed. So she came to understand the mindset and the protocols around the review of these things. Imagine that, and she did that early in her career. Find out what they were looking for, and she saw the reasonableness in trying to deliver what they had envisioned. Most people just want to do what they want to do, and they want somebody else to pay for it. And Elizabeth, just had the uncommonly good sense to realize, well, that's probably not the best way to be successful if you're really trying to promote science education and you need funds to do it with. So let's see what the funding agencies are envisioning. Last but not least, she was and is an outstanding teacher and an outstanding mentor. I learned a lot from her, and she opened a lot of doors for me, as she did for other people. She did not suffer fools lightly, but nor did she waste her energy on personal contention. She was focused on her work, and she pursued it with diligence and passion. So, throughout her career, Elizabeth Swanson exemplifies the qualities of tenacity, wisdom, professionalism, creativity, and competence. Well done, Elizabeth.
Thank you so much, Robert. So I would love to give our award winners an opportunity if they would like to say anything to this lovely group. We start with Gianna. Do you want to say a few words?
Yeah.
Okay.
From
no
here?
pressure. Just not to be prepared.
Yeah.
Here.
Oh, up here. Okay. You don't want me to yell. I can yell. Hi everyone. It's so good to see so many familiar faces from my time working with the college. And I just wanted to say truly what an honor it was to work alongside and for the benefit of EHHD and everything that they do. I was reminded regularly, I see two of my former colleagues back there, when I worked at the foundation, how fortunate I was to work with Dean Harmon and the faculty and staff of the college. And just last night at another awards ceremony, I heard some of your MSU colleagues outside of the college acknowledge that as well. And that's to say, not only was I fortunate to work alongside you, Allison, but in the work that I did to bring in donors and stakeholders and supporters to the college. It's very difficult to do that without demonstrated leadership and really effective and sincere leadership. So introducing supporters to you and to the college was really what moved them to get on board and to support. So without your leadership, truly, my job would have been very, very difficult. And beyond that too, you know, as a land-grant university, we hear that a lot. Truly, EHHD demonstrates in such a beautiful way the importance of what goes on here. I mean, every single program is so connected to the community and wants to serve the community, and it was so beautiful to witness. And I know I'll continue to advocate. Now as an honorary alumni, I will continue to advocate for the college, and I hope everyone here does as well. Thanks so much.
Like I said, no pressure, but Deb, if you would like to say something first, I'm sure we would love to hear from you.
Well, I guess my career would not have started here at MSU if it hadn't been for Larry Baker, who hired me as the program coordinator for the certification for the athletic department. And then our paths have crossed many times with Larry. Would embarrass my daughter-in-law, who is Kimberly Baker, who married my son Nick. So Larry's still part family. And then after that, when I became development director, I just look around the room and I see so many of you that I knew from those days. And then it just kind of blossomed into this other job, which was the communication associate. So that was truly an honor to be involved with MSU as your communication specialist and scholarship coordinator and events coordinator. And apparently I had to help Allison coordinate her clubs. I always told her all she had to do was just add a star. So, thank you. It was truly an honor to represent the college for so many years in many capacities, so thank you.
Thanks, Deb. Mickey, I know you have some things to say to this group.
Hi, I just want to say thank you so much for the support that you've given me over the years. And you know, I look out on this group and I told her earlier today, Jane Downey was the department head who hired me. And I said, I blame this on you. This award is your responsibility. But I began back almost 30 years ago with Elizabeth Swanson, who was just honored. And I was able to work with her side by side in providing support to the teachers across Montana. Those on and near reservations were our target group. And we helped these teachers get their masters and their doctorates. And it was just such an honor to serve with Elizabeth and help support all of these National Science Foundation grants that she brought in. I counted it up once, and it was somewhere in the neighborhood of $63 million. And I've been with the department here, Department of Education, for 8 years. So 63 million, 10 years ago, that was a pretty big chunk of money that she and many, many professors across this campus put their heads together and raised to support science educators and math educators in our great state. And since I've come to the department, Jane hired me to, just support our students and our faculty, and it was so fun to come back to the Department of Education and really start connecting with the professors and the staff here in the department. I have so enjoyed your friendship and your support through the years. And, you know, I was able to serve under Tricia as a department head, and now Ann is a department head, and you guys have always been so supportive and of me and of the other staff members and the other faculty. It truly has been an amazing place to work. I've raised my family and all on MSU, and I just so appreciate all of you. Thank you.
Kelly, we would love to hear what you have to say.
Well, I'm just absolutely gobsmacked, humbled, honored. I'm at a loss for words, and my husband is here, and that doesn't happen very often. Just what an honor to be in the presence of these other women who have won these awards today. I'm just in gratitude that I get to share this moment with you and all that you've done. MSU has always played an important part in my life. When I came here from Big Fork, Montana, over 30 years ago now, to follow my love of teaching, and it has never disappointed me. My husband said, "You're going to get choked up." I said, "I do this for a living. I don't get choked up." But here I am getting choked up because MSU holds a very special place in my heart. I stand on the shoulders of so many professors, instructors, teachers, faculty, staff, who have helped me to launch my career, find my passion, reconnect with my why, connect to why I do what I do, which is for children. And now my students are just taller. I was just telling Dr. Ellsworth, I'm now teaching in the Department of Education, and my students are gracious, bright, eager, delightful. And a lot of the things that work with fourth graders work with undergraduate students, I'm finding. You know the difference between a fourth grader and an undergraduate student? About 6 inches. I'm learning they need modeling, they need support, they need connection. They need to know that there's a person there that cares about them as a person, not just for them as a student. And so it's such an honor to be back in this department in this role. And I'm learning a lot. I've told my husband I don't think I've ever worked this hard in my life, even after all of these books. But this is important work that we're doing, shaping educators who are then going to shape the lives of children. What greater calling could that possibly be? So I'm going to cut it short because I'm late to seminar. I'm supposed to be at Read 223 right now with a small group. But I just want to thank you so much for this honor. I'm absolutely humbled, gobsmacked, honored. Thank you so much.
Could have let you go first. Thank you so much for being here and helping us honor these individuals. This has been really special. We love to see you all, and we really missed doing this last year. So this is a lot of makeup time we have to get together and to thank one another and to honor each other. So thanks for being here. Please eat some desserts. Well, there's just a few left, so you don't have too big of a job to finish those off before you go. Lastly, I just want to thank my members of my advisory council who all happen to be sitting at this table right here. We got to spend the entire day yesterday together, and we're probably all a little whipped from that. But it means so much to me that you're here and such a big part of this college. So thanks to each of you.